Hello again, everybody. Thanks for joining us for episode 4 of Police Are Good People Too. And it's nice to have one more classmate of ours, Mike. Everybody calls him Shoe. And Mike, we really didn't know each other. You didn't really know Mike and I until we went through the academy. And we found out that Mike was a bartender at a very young age at the bar downtown. Let's just say this particular bar, you didn't have to wear a suit to get in. Okay, you can let your imagination go from there for the clientele that was at this bar. But out of that came Mike, who could talk to anybody, the goods, the hoods, anybody. He was wonderful at that. So it's kind of nice to have Mike sit here with us. And we bumped into him not too long ago, and he was telling us about his story when he was a young police officer and had occasion to meet this young boy. And Mike, why don't you go ahead and share the story with the audience?
I will elaborate on our class from 1984. It was in the opening days of the academy, and when I first met Paul and Mike, we all had to stand up, give our name, tell us where we were from. I was tan and thin, and I used sun in on my hair.
I forgot all about that. That's true.
Be told.
Yeah, yeah.
I was born on Mogador Road in Ellet, but I grew up in the Highland Square area over by Highland Square and Five Points. But yeah, so they had a comment, and we've been close friends ever since.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
So the little boy.
so when I was working Car 7, myself and Chip Westfall, we'd work 7A in Kenmore. And I go to this house. They'd have domestics there, and his mom would have arguments with the boyfriend. And there was a young boy there. He was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. And like all young male kids, they are attracted to policemen. They like the uniform and all the accoutrements. And I'd been there a few times, and we would talk, and I called him by name. I said, "No, my name's Mike too." His name was Michael, and I didn't see him that often. And then years later, this was probably when I first started seeing him. Was probably late '80s, pushing 1990. About 24 years later, I get an envelope in the mail, and it's not flat. There's something in it. And I don't recognize the address, but I do recognize the name from Michael. And I open it up, and it's a handwritten letter. It was a handwritten envelope, and it was a handwritten letter, and it floored me.
Is that what you brought with you, Mike?
I brought it with me.
Why don't you show the audience?
I put it in a shadow box frame later. It was just the letter and a little plastic policeman. And he proceeded to tell me.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
He just says, "I've had this since I knew you as a child. It was my Michael Shoemaker action figure, the little policeman." And it says, "I knew you as a child. Since I knew you as a child, my Michael Shoemaker action figure. As I got older, I kept it on my dresser. And when I would get home, I would throw my whatever change in my pocket up there, and he would watch over it. He would watch over my change. In all these years, I've never had any change come up missing while he was standing there on duty. He's come full circle now, and he can watch over yours. Thanks for being that cop I knew from my childhood, Michael." This was written on March 4th, 2014. So about 24 years after our encounters in Kenmore, and it floored me.
How did it make you feel about your job as a police officer?
Well, a lot of times we take that for granted. We do so much. We deal with so many bad things. Uh, being on the SWAT team for 13 years, being a sniper 7 years out of that 13, working all the hard districts, car 8, car 7, car 6, car 5. You don't see a lot of good stories. So when I got this, it floored me, and it made me think. You know, you can't take calls for granted. You can't assume every call you go on. People may only see a policeman once in their lifetime, and it's probably not a good thing. It's probably a traffic stop or an incident, but it's probably not a good thing. And you don't realize the impression you make. And you don't even know that you made an impression until years later when you get something like this in the mail out of the blue that you changed some young boy's life. And there was two things I wanted to do in my life, and that was to be a policeman and to serve in the military. And I was able to do both. I was fortunate enough to do both. I served 6 years in the Army as a military policeman and a military police investigator. And I believe that helped me when I got out to transition to civilian police department. Because basically military policemen do the same thing as city policemen. It's just on a military base. You have domestics, you have traffic accidents, you have all the same things. It's just in the military, and it's a different set of laws and rules, but it's basically the same. So it helped me, and I think it made me a better policeman. But in regards to this letter, to this day, I still look at it every day and realize that I know of at least one person I had an influence on, and it's really when you look back, you would think, well, I might have changed the way I handled a lot of calls with people, knowing that my brief interaction with them has some effect on their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a good buddy of ours, he always said if you could take that old head and put it on young shoulders, how good it would be,
Yeah.
Mike, that's a terrific story.
That's a terrific story. It's just you have no idea when you go to these calls. You're just bouncing from one call to another. And it could be brief. It could be minutes. And you could have an effect on somebody.
For decades.
Yeah. I had a traffic stop one time. A little kid was in the back seat. I walked up to the car, asked the woman driver for her license, registration. Little boy in the back seat said, "You're fat." and that stuck with me for a long time. Had to cut back on the brewskis. So.
Mike, thanks for taking the time to come visit with us. It's stories like that, like we've said here on episode 4, and you see how police officers tick a little bit, and it's good we have the opportunity and a platform to share it with you so you can see for yourself. Mike, you got any?
Yeah, just real quick, what you said about somebody calls the police and maybe the only time in their life they have interaction with police, and that's like these guys have all said. Just don't know. It could be a real simple call until you get there. And I know, like Paul says, every call you go to, there's a gun involved because the bad guy don't have one, the policeman has one. So you got to be on your toes for everything. Everything. You can't take anything for granted. And to get a letter like that just, I know, that just makes your day every day. So.
I have it hanging on my wall of fame with all my other police memorabilia, and it's right on the corner to where I have to look at it virtually several times a day. And it just, to this day, 12 years later, I'm still affected by it when I reread it. And
that's understandable.
Knowing that I impacted this young boy.
Yeah.
To that point that he, out of the blue, sent me that.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good way to end episode 4 right there. And thanks for spending some time with us. We'll see you on the next episode.